Hey, I'm Stephanie, and every cart is a time machine. We might think we're shopping for stuff, but what we're really doing is trying on possible futures. That lipstick in your cart, that's next year's you finally thriving. Those boots, that's you on a life-changing trip that you haven't even booked yet. Every add to cart is a test drive of a future self. My mental cart alone could open up an entire hall of futures, just room after room of possibilities that I can grow into. There's the version of me who carries herself with confidence because she knows her value and sees opportunity everywhere. And on her, the perfect vintage blazer just makes sense. There's the version of me who tends to her skin so consistently that foundation feels optional, and her luminous routine only contains the best of the best skincare. In one cart, I'm the woman who wakes up to lake views every morning and begins her day with intention, journal in hand, before the world asks anything of her. In another, I'm an upgraded version of myself, moving through the day with the kind of ease that you can't fake, even wearing pants that actually drape the way they do in magazines. And then there's Angel's Share. Future me is warm, confident, maybe a little spicy, the kind of woman who can turn errands into adventures and who makes every Wednesday afternoon feel like something worth remembering. Angel's Share is a fragrance that feels like it belongs to that version of me. Whenever I smell it, it makes me feel happy in a way that feels almost medicinal, like it's prescribing comfort. There's something in it that just feels like me at my best, warm, a little spicy, magnetic, the way apple strudel can make a whole house smell inviting when it's freshly baked. But the real pull isn't about becoming a dessert, it's about becoming the version of me who can hold warmth and confidence at the same time, amplifying the sweetness of a life I already live and love. And here's the thing about time machines. They don't just show you where you think you're going, they reveal other possibilities too. Has any fragrance ever rewritten my story? No, it doesn't need to. I already have perfumes that make me feel like a creamy mango lassie, or like I'm sipping cocktails in a jazz club, or like I'm a unicorn on vacation. I'm not lacking in the fragrance department just because I don't yet smell like a spiced apple pie. What Angel's Share gives me isn't transformation. It's rehearsal. Every time I'm in the city for some mundane grown-up task, renewing my license, waiting in line, picking up dry cleaning, I stop at the counter. I layer on that Angel's Share body lotion, and then I top it with the fragrance, and for the rest of the day, I get to borrow that future self. I kind of like the visualization exercises that elite athletes do, only it smells a whole lot better than a locker room. And that's why I keep it in my cart. For me, Angel's Share isn't about becoming someone else. It's about stepping into a timeline where I feel more at home in myself. If you're new here, welcome to the Adagio Sessions, a little series I have on my channel. I'm a musician, and Adagio is a musical term that means slow and with feeling. And it can be more than just a tempo. It can also be a way of living. So around here, Adagio means slowing down the pace of my buying so that I can actually hear the music of what I already own and savor the rare notes that I do choose to add. There is no one right way to enjoy beauty or style or shopping, and I am not here to try to convert you to anything. I'm just sharing what's been helping me live with a little bit more harmony, because I used to be someone who overpurchased quite a lot, and now I'm just trying to shop in a way that fits my life instead of my fantasies. And what I've discovered is that the deepest kind of luxury isn't in racing to own more all the time. It's also sometimes in leaving things in my cart and transforming it into a time machine. I think we all have these cart inhabitants to a certain extent. Items that represent not just what we want to own, but who we want to become. That expensive serum that belongs to the version of you with perfect skin. The red lipstick that goes with your confident alter ego who speaks up in meetings and mingles effortlessly at parties. The designer handbag for the person who has their financial life so together that a 4-figure purchase doesn't require a payment plan. These aren't just purchases, they're trial runs for the lives that we're in the process of building. And I've learned that the disconnect isn't necessarily between who you are and who you want to be. The disconnect is more between the fantasy of transformation and the reality of accumulation. When I finally do buy that red lipstick, after months of imagining how it will change me, I won't suddenly become more confident. I just become someone who owns an expensive red lipstick. The magic that I think is in the tube is actually in the dreaming, in the possibility, and in the time that I spend imagining myself wearing it. And that's an important distinction. The fantasy self is the version of me who believes that a product can transform everything instantly. But the future self is the version of me who has slowly grown into that confidence or that version of who I want to be over time. And the cart is where those two selves meet. We've all heard about the fantasy self, right? The one who buys everything for a life she doesn't actually live. The fantasy self wants transformation from the outside in. She craves the blazer or the handbag or the lipstick or the home goods or the houseplants because she believes that those things can turn her into something new. But that's just an illusion because stuff can't do that kind of work for us. The future self is different. She isn't fantasy, she is possibility. She's built step by step through choices and habits and patience. She doesn't need the object to prove that she exists. She needs me to keep showing up until I grow into her. The blazer, the bag, the lipstick, they can still have a place, but only once they fit into the life I've already been building where they actually fit. And that's the real time travel in the cart. It's not about escaping into a fantasy, it's about rehearsing a reality I can actually grow into, that I want to grow into. Leaving something in the cart allows me to practice being that person, to try it on in my imagination until it feels less like fantasy and more like a possibility I can realistically step into. And that's what makes a shopping cart a time machine. This extends beyond beauty and style, of course. My mental cart has sections for everything. There's the home goods wing, populated by linen curtains and brass fixtures that belong to the version of me who entertains effortlessly and never has any dirty dishes in the sink. Each item comes with its own little story, its own promise of who I can become. But I've started to notice that the thrill is often strongest before the purchase. There's something intoxicating about that moment when the item is still pure possibility, when it reflects not just what I could own, but who I could grow into. Once I own it, the magic doesn't vanish, it just feels a little ahead of schedule unless I've done the work first. The linen curtains are not proof that I now throw elegant dinner parties. They're waiting in the same living room where I sometimes eat cereal for dinner and chat with the cat. The brass fixtures don't instantly make me into a design icon, but they do hint at a version of me who remembers to water her plants someday. Oh no. The products aren't failing me. They're simply arriving before I've grown into the life that I imagined with them. A purchase cannot fast forward that process. It can only join me on the way. The real time travel isn't in the object at all. It's in the version of the future self that I am practicing when I leave it in the cart. We don't just shop for stuff, we're shopping for possible versions of ourselves. And an abandoned cart is just proof that you can try on a future self without spending a cent. It's the fun of shopping without the hangover of owning. More than that, the thing sitting in my cart can be a signal, a reminder of the habits or shifts that I need to make in order to become that version of myself. The fancy serum points me towards taking better care of my skin, something that I can do with lifestyle choices and the skincare I already own. The blazer nudges me to take my endeavors more seriously. The object in the cart is like a beacon from the future, not something to buy right away, but something to guide me while I do the work. When I purchase it too early, I cut that process short and the object is out of sync. I get the item without building the life that it fits into first. And that's when it can end up collecting dust or carrying guilt instead of being the puzzle piece that future me buys because it actually fits in the picture. That's why I've reframed my angel's share ritual for myself. Every time I go into the city, I step into that fragrance like I'm boarding a time machine. For a few hours, I get to live that future version of myself. The spicy yet balanced, productive, enthusiastic, radiant apple strudel woman. I don't need to own the bottle to visit that timeline, and honestly, the anticipation of each next trip makes it even more special to me. I actually covered that direction a little more in last week's video, so if you're curious, I'll link it here and in the show notes. But every mundane errand becomes an opportunity to play with possibility when I live this way. I layer on that apple strudel fantasy and I walk through the city feeling like that velvet and spice, comfortable yet adventurous version of myself, and then I go home. The magic isn't diminished by not owning it. In fact, in some ways, I kind of think it's enhanced because it makes my adulting in the city feel more fun every single time. And for me, that future self isn't built by shopping, it's built by habits that I'm already building, like slowing down enough to make the ordinary feel special. The cart just gives me a preview of where I'm headed. And this works for all kinds of things. That expensive skincare system in your saved items, instead of buying it and then maybe feeling guilty when you don't use it consistently, what if you were to appreciate what it represents? The desire to take care of yourself, to have rituals that feel luxurious, to believe that you're someone worth investing in. That designer bag you keep returning to, maybe it's not about the bag. Maybe it's about wanting to feel like someone whose life is elegant and organized. And you can work towards that feeling in so many other ways too. You can carry yourself like someone who deserves beautiful things, whether you buy them or not. That cart becomes less about acquiring and more about understanding. What do these items say about what you value right now? And what do they reveal about what might feel missing in your current life? Sometimes the answer isn't in the buying, it's in the noticing. So if you have any items in your cart, what are they? And what version of you do you think they're for? I still hope to own Angel's Share one day, but I'm not in a hurry. Right now, I'm just enjoying the courtship phase. I like having something to look forward to, something that makes ordinary days feel special and reminds me of who I'm working towards becoming. I've realized that this is actually its own form of luxury, the luxury of anticipation, of dreaming, of believing in future versions of yourself without needing to prove them immediately through purchase. Your cart, it's a mood board, and sometimes leaving something in there is the most intentional thing you can do. Because I've learned that the fantasy self and the real self, they don't have to be at war. The fantasy self contributes the spark of imagination, but it's the real self that does the work of becoming. And the future self is where those sparks and that work finally meet. They can inform each other, they can coexist, and sometimes they even begin to feel integrated. But that integration doesn't happen through accumulation. It happens through attention, through honesty, through asking yourself not just, do I want this, but what does wanting this tell me about what I'm actually seeking? When I realized that my cart was less about shopping and more about glimpses of who I'm becoming, I put together something to explore that idea. I called it my Future Self Itinerary, and it's a simple guide that you can use to sort out which cart items belong to your current self, which ones are pure fantasy, and which ones might belong to a future you that's worth growing towards. I made it for my patrons on Club Adagio, and you'll find the link here and in the description and the pinned comment if you'd like to join. Whether you want to take advantage of that or not, here's something interesting to try. The next time you feel that pull to check out with everything in your cart, pause and ask who you're really buying those items for. Is it current you? Someone who can use and enjoy those things right now? Is it fantasy you? The one who hopes that a purchase will flip a switch and transform something? Or is it future you? A version of yourself that you're steadily growing towards, where the item would naturally fit into the life you're building, but you're not quite there yet. All of those longings are valid, but the cart gives us a chance to notice the difference. The lipstick or the handbag or the serum or the houseplant isn't the transformation, it's just a symbol. The real time travel happens when you let the cart hold that item long enough for you to borrow the feeling, practice stepping into it, and take the small actions that move you closer to future you. These wants are beautiful. They deserve attention. They just don't always deserve a transaction. Because your cart isn't just a checkout line, it can be a compass pointing you towards the self that you are becoming without demanding that you buy your way there. For me, the most joy comes when a purchase echoes the future that I've been steadily working towards, not when I expect it to fast forward me there overnight, because that never seems to work. If this resonated with you, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We have conversations like this every week, and I think you might like them, or this video here. Thanks for hanging out, and to my patrons and channel members, including my Adagio angels, for making these conversations possible. I hope we can all remember that even stumbling can be a form of moving forward. So let's stumble in style.